Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mani Maniac. Thanks for joining me again today. We are getting ready for St. Patrick's Day with Sparkle & Co.'s February subscription bag colors. I am so excited to use these. I love St. Patrick's Day. Make sure you thumbs up this video and share it with your friends. Also, if you remember, I posted a video where I did my organization of my dips back here. So I've got them all up and all my swatches ready so I can take a look and look through those. I think I finally found some magnets strong enough to hold my 1 ounce dips on my organizational board. So I'll put those down in the notes and check out that video up in the corner on the card. Let's get ready for St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so we're gonna finish up these 3 nails on this side. Got coins and clovers, gonna match our pinky. This is Champagne Fierce, and then we're gonna do a little French, pointed French of Shamrocks and Shenanigans. So we are going to use the gel liquids today. We've got the Sparkle & Co. gel base and also the gel top, which is a no wipe top coat we talked about last week. So what we're going to do is I've already filed my nails, so I'm going to use Sparkle & Co. step number 1 pH prep. And this is basically just a dehydrator, so it's gonna dehydrate your nails so that the dip or gel or whatever you're using sticks to it real well. And then we're also gonna try out the Sparkle & Co. peel base again this week. Last week I tried it and I took my mani off after only a few days because I wanted to do St. Patrick's Day. So I didn't really get a chance to use the peel base for that because basically what you do is you put it everywhere but the edges, and that part is going to adhere really well to the base or the gel. But as the mani ages, that's where you usually get lifting. Since mine was still pretty new when I took it off, I didn't have any lifting, and so I wasn't able to really use the peel base the way it's intended, which is to just pop off those edges and then be able to pull it off because the latex is here. So now that that pH prep is dry, we're going to go ahead and put on the peel base. And again, we're just going to go a little away from the edge, and you want a thin layer. And this is just a latex base that is going to help us pop off that manicure, or that's its intent anyway, once we are done. So okay, so now we're going to give that just a second to dry completely. So those are completely dry to the touch and not sticky. So we're going to go ahead and move on with our application. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and put a couple coats of the clear dip on our nails. And I forgot this step because I got too ahead of myself last time. This is just for strength. If you don't need extra strength, if you have really strong nails, you can skip straight to the dip powder because my nails peel and they're not really super strong. So I always put a couple dips of the clear underneath, and that just gives it some added strength. So again, you want to do you know, not too thick of a coat. You don't want it to well up in the sides here. So just nice and thin. You can see some here on that corner, and I don't want the dip to stick to it, although it's easier to get off with this because it doesn't really get hard until you cure it. To refill my clear. It's getting a little low. Okay, so again, you don't want to brush first. You want to cure first with the gel because it's not very hard. If you brush it with the brush, it'll come off. All right, so we're going to cure this for 1 minute. Okay, so now we can go ahead and give that a brush. Those are all fully cured. All right, we're gonna do just one more coat of clear dip. Make sure these are nice and strong. It'll last us a good week before we change. I am one of those people that likes to change my nails often, probably too often. Usually you can get a good 2 weeks wear out of one manicure with the dip powder. But I have too many colors to work through, so I want to use them all. You want to try and make these layers as even as possible. This gel does tend to kind of level itself out, so to speak. But that being said, you definitely don't want to let it get lumpy or, you know, all in one area, because then it's a lot harder to fix it. Okay, last one for the clear dip. Edges here, clean that up, and into the clear dip. Okay, I'm going to cure those 1 minute. Okay, so give those a good dust off. Okay, so because I'm using the clear dip, I am just going to go ahead and grab a file real quick. I can see I did get kind of a little bit of a lump right there. I want to clean these up before I put my dip on, my colored dip on, because I can work over this clear a lot easier. It won't scratch any of the glitter or anything. And then that way I'll have a really nice surface for when I do my dip. I try and only, and part of the reason why I do 2 clear dips is because I try and only do 1 colored dip. I've noticed that, like, if it's a glitter dip, it does tend to get thick real quickly, and I don't like my nails to be real thick. So I want to minimize that by getting the dip done in just 1 pass through, so that I don't have to do it 100 times or 2. Because we are going to put clear dip over top of those glitters, just to give them a nice smooth consistency. Although we can do that with the base gel too, like I showed you last week. Check out last week's video. The first time I did the gel, I did use sparkles, and that felt a little lumpy after I put the top coat on, so I just went back, did another clear base coat, cured it, nothing attached to it, just the base coat, cured it, and then I went back and put the top coat over again, and that gave me a nice smooth surface even with that glitter under there. So okay, so these feel nice and smooth now. I've kind of got that extra side here worked out. Much better. Okay, dust those off, and then we'll go in with another of our base bond. We're going to start with our pinky and do our coins and clovers, which is the green with the gold round chunky glitter. And again, just a nice thin coat. Don't want it all goopy or... Okay, and I'm just going to lay my finger right on top of that color. Give it just a little tap. And then I'm going to pat down any of my big chunky glitters. Didn't get too many this time. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean up my side walls here. Make sure the shape of my nail is showing the way I want it to. And again, this is one thing I really do love about gel is, you know, you can really take your time to get it exactly how you want it. which just makes a better end result. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and leave that for a couple minutes while we finish up with these. So next we're gonna go with our Champagne Fierce on our ring finger. Sometimes there's too much liquid on the brush, so I just kind of tap it back into the container so that I don't make this have more than I want it to. Okay, there we go. So we're going to just lay that right on top of the Champagne Fierce. Give that a tap. Since this doesn't have any chunky glitter, I don't really need to pat it down the same way. I need to make sure that these gold large circle glitters stay flat. This will kind of just flatten itself out, so we don't really have to worry too much about that. We just want to make sure we get a sharp look around our edges so we can see the shape of our nail. And that one looks good to go. Good coverage. All right, so this last one, we're gonna do a little pointed French tip with our Shamrocks and Shenanigans. And again, this is probably easier with gel than it is with the dip liquid base because it does not dry as fast. So you're not racing against the clock to get it to adhere before the base bond dries. So again, nice even layer, and I'm going to pull this out of here. Well, maybe I'll pull the whole thing over so you can see a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and angle our finger right into the powder because we're making kind of a point. So we're going to see if we can get it right to the middle. And this is just, you're going to do this how you want it to look. So it's pretty close. And then if you need to go a little further, you can. Just go ahead and push that in a little further. And I want it to, I do want it to be a point in the center. So let's see how we got. Yeah, not too bad. We need a little more on this side. Just a touch. Okay, there we go. It's got a little point to it. Okay. Also, the nice thing about doing things like this, and if you were doing an ombre, it would sort of, sorry, just want to make sure this is even. If you were doing an ombre, it would be the exact same thing that you would, you don't need to dip the rest in clear because once you cure this base, it's dry. So 1 minute curing time for those. Okay, there they are. So go ahead and give them a little brush now. And they're good and stuck there. So at this point, if you wanted to do another layer of base and dip powder, you most definitely can. If there's anything else that you need to fix up. So the reason that I buffed the clear layer first was obviously like I wanted to make sure that when I put this on, I wouldn't have to buff it, because if you do, you're buffing off all that glitter, you're buffing off this design that you've made, things like that. So I try and take care of all of that ahead of time, because otherwise it'll bother me if it's not smooth. So since this is all set, let's go ahead and let's do another base coat and see how that goes, because last time I did the top coat and then I felt that the glitter was kind of still bumpy. So let's go ahead and skip straight to the base top and see if that will help alleviate that bumpiness right off the bat. And we do have the chunky glitter this time, which we didn't last time, and so that may need a little bit extra. It does stick up a little further than the regular glitter, so. Okay, again, make sure we clean these up. Okay, and then cure those 1 minute. All right, so that is good, and we'll go ahead and put the top coat and see how that feels. Should be pretty good. Again, the base stays a little sticky after it's cured. The top coat will dry, no wipe. And then if we need to do another layer on the chunky glitter, we can. And this is exactly why I work really hard to get the color done in only one dip, because that way it doesn't get too thick, because otherwise it'll be super thick. All right, so top coat's on, cure 1 minute. Okay, nice and dry. So that definitely worked. It's nice and smooth. Yay. Okay. All right, we are ready for St. Patrick's Day. Thanks again for joining us today on the Mani Maniac for our St. Patrick's Day manicure. I am loving using Sparkle & Co.'s gel liquids to apply. I love how easy it is to clean everything up and make sure it's perfect before I cure it. I don't have to race against the clock for that base bond before it dries. I'm totally loving that. If you are interested in purchasing Sparkle & Co. products, they do have a fantastic referral program. All that information is down in the notes section. Make sure you hit us up in the comments. Today's question of the day is, what are you looking forward to for spring? I've got some really beautiful bright colors that I am so excited to use. Once we round the corner after St. Patrick's Day, we'll be moving into those spring colors, and I cannot wait. So what's your upcoming trend forecast for the spring? What are you looking forward to? Get down in the comments and let me know. And also don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Just hit that red button down below so you don't miss any upcoming content. And we'll see you next time on the Mani Maniac.